Thanks, Vish. We're always inspired by you, paving the way for future entrepreneurs. And indeed, we are following in TiE's footsteps as well. So welcome to all of you. It's very exciting to present to you this Blockchain and AI Summit that Minnie and I have been conceiving for a while now. I wanted to just mention that the vision for the summit is not only to shine a spotlight on this important convergence of technologies between blockchain and AI, and the incredible transformative power that these two technologies have in various sectors. But also, I think, Minnie, you and I, being women board members at TiE, have always strived for achieving gender parity. This is a huge goal for TiE, and it's also a huge goal for us. And so we're very, very proud to announce that this conference has achieved gender parity. We have 16 women change makers and 16 men change makers equally represented in this conference. And so for me, this is a huge win. I feel like we have achieved something really extraordinary where we attend ourselves as women speakers and attendees at many advanced technology summits that don't achieve that degree of parity. So that's a very special thing, I think, as far as I'm concerned. I want to introduce my colleague, my dear friend and fellow board member, Minnie Suri, CEO of Velmany. I think what I really love about her is her incredible energy and her incredible desire to do things well, to make people happy. I think this is something that I really enjoy about Minnie. Minnie recently joined Velmany as CEO and co-founder. Velmany is a health tech startup that is pioneering in the AI-driven patient care space. Her motto is be on purpose, 100% of the time. I think that's very well captured, Minnie. She's been a champion of women's empowerment throughout her career. Her passion to advise youth on the latest technologies and budding entrepreneurs to be successful in their journey. This is a mission for her. So welcome, Minnie. Over to you.
Woohoo, Radhika, thank you so much. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. We are so happy that you could join us, from around the world with whichever time zone you guys are in. So welcome aboard. We have a lovely lineup of amazing speakers who have come to share their brilliant ideas and useful tips. So you'll be hearing from inspiring men and women throughout our time together. We all know how important it is for us today. So why is entrepreneurship so meaningful to you? I know it has been a life-changing experience for me, and TiE has been instrumental in supporting my journey. Because of TiE, I was able to join a healthcare AI startup as a CEO. TiE gave me the confidence. And also, I was able to tap into this incredible network. Now it's my time to give back to you by supporting and promoting the entrepreneurs and newly minted entrepreneurs in our community. By the way, Silicon Valley has launched its new CXO member category, especially for the entrepreneurs to create meaningful, long-term, year-long relationship and to get guidance and access to the customer and investors. Please do look into our TiE.org website for more information, or you could also write us at TiE.org. We'll be happy to give you more information. Now, the best part. Today's opening keynote is by one of my dear friend, my partner in crime. I remember my first meeting with her, the twinkle in her eyes, the passion that she had, and what she stood out was her zeal and energy to make the world a better place one day at a time. She is a Silicon Valley woman of influence and a serial entrepreneur who stepped up as the CEO of Barley Corporation, which is leveraging blockchain and AI in transforming healthcare and healthcare cybersecurity. She's the founding partner at StarChain Ventures, a Silicon Valley-based venture studio focusing on solving significant global challenges with advanced technologies such as blockchain, AI, and IoT. And she recently launched her best-selling book, Enterprise Blockchain has Arrived. This person is always up to something, and she intrigues me. So please put your hands together to welcome Radhika Iyengar to give the keynote speech at the TiE Global Blockchain and AI Conference. Welcome aboard, Radhika. Over to you.
Thanks, Minnie, really for that warm welcome. The mutual feelings are very much there. Share my screen. So I wanted to welcome all of you today to kind of the extension of this summit, which is really based on my book, Enterprise Blockchain Has Arrived. If you want to find out more information about this book, you can click on the QR code to go to the website to find out more information. But it really is my thesis, along with my co-founder and co-author as well. And it is the base of this presentation. So I wanted to take you, I thought it was really important to start the day off for this particular summit, because there's some really exciting panel discussions waiting for you ahead. And I thought, what would be the best way to frame the context for discussion for today? And what I want to share with you is that blockchain is really more than just a technology. It's a mindset. And what is driving blockchain are 6 aspects. Actually, there's 5 here, but there's an additional one that I will talk about as well. Number 1, we have a secure source of truth. In today's world where we have so many fake things, we have fake items, fake news, fake a lot of things, there is a very important calling in blockchain to arrive at a secure single source of truth, as we call it. This truth is also then shared across untrusting parties, which is also another unique quality to blockchain. If you think about the digital world and what we are looking at, building trust, real online trust across untrusting parties, across people who don't really know each other, is pretty difficult with the current technologies. And so blockchain with a shared ledger, which everyone has access to and everyone can see all the transactions that are occurring, really evens out the playing field in terms of knowing what's happening. And that's what's establishing this high degree of trust through a blockchain network. We're also talking about something else which is transformative, which is automation of decentralized transactions. In today's centralized world, everything is based on one single owner or repository, and I'll build on that more in just a few minutes. What we're talking about is automation of decentralized transactions, where information is spread across a network. The power of the network is spread across multiple nodes on a network, and all of that is automated, and that's pretty compelling. We also have the tokenization of everything. Tokenization as a concept is nothing really new. If you think about loyalty points, reward kind of incentives, etc., all of these are meant to nudge our behavior in a certain way, embrace and belong to something. And what we're doing in blockchain is taking that one step further or a few steps further, because there is a way to tokenize and incentivize behavior, motivation, good behavior, in fact, and honesty as well. So this is a bigger ethos behind this tokenization of everything. And the last thing is something called open source software, which really isn't new at all. It has been around from very early days. But I think that having open source software where developers can build on each other's work is pretty compelling. And I just attended an event yesterday at Christie's, and the CTO of OpenSea, Alex Atala, really got super excited because this is what propelled him to get involved with something like OpenSea. And there'll be more discussion on that at our NFT panel. The open source software concept is so powerful because we are all recognizing the power and the influence that each other, that we have as a community to build on each other. So more about this blockchain ethos that I talked about. I think this is probably one of the most exciting things for me personally, and this is why I got involved in blockchain. It is the mindset behind blockchain. It is this mindset of everything being shared, such as shared data. It is this mindset around peer-to-peer transactions, peer-to-peer power. It is this mindset around decentralized transactions, where there is no single owner, but it is a multiple joint ownership of information. It is this mindset around a community-driven ethos, a community-driven spirit. And indeed, the community is what drives the value into blockchain networks. It is the blockchain ethos around self-governing principles, which, as we know, if you're trying to build consensus in a network across the board, across untrusting parties, you have to have the right governance, the rules of engagement, and these drive the actual functioning of that blockchain network. And it is driving something that is incredibly important and something that drives me every day, which is power symmetry. If you look at centralized systems where one entity owns the data, owns the power, if you will, in that structure, there's power and information asymmetry. When you have power symmetry, everyone sees the same information. Everyone is at a level playing field. Everyone is giving an equal opportunity to contribute to the power of the network. And that is a fundamentally different way of looking at the world, where we are driving towards equity and equality across a network. And that is one of the driving forces for me to be involved in this technology. So one might wonder, well, what is so really dramatically different between, say, Web 2.0 and cloud solutions and blockchain solutions? As I mentioned, in cloud solutions or Web 2.0, it is a centralized system. There is one owner of the system and one central copy of the data. You contrast that with blockchain, you've got joint ownership in a system, and every member in that network has a copy of that data. Again, it's about transparency across the board. In Web 2.0 cloud structures, we also have much weaker security and privacy. We strive towards it, but I don't think we quite achieve it because these are weak points. Anybody, and we know this from the cybersecurity space, that hackers these days are greatly incentivized to break into systems because they know that the value of the system and the data in that system is something that they can actually reach. And once they breach those walls, they actually have keys to the kingdom. That's what we talk about. Whereas in blockchain, it is fundamentally built around ultra security and privacy. These are two very central tenets to blockchain. In Web 2.0 cloud infrastructure, it is not easily auditable. And even if it were auditable, it is easy to manipulate the information. And indeed, we see that in many centralized systems, information is, well, changed. And so what we see in blockchain is that immutability of information, as one of my colleagues says, indelible information. You can't change it, you can't delete it. You can only amend to the record and say, if there was a mistake in the record, you can amend to it. And so now you've got a full audit trail of the history of interaction with that data. And that's very, very game-changing and powerful. So blockchain, I would say, is really based on three different types of attributes. One is the Internet of Trust, as my colleague and I talk about it, my co-author of the book. It's a shared truth, and the trust is in the power of the network. The fact that you have every node on the network sharing information, sharing the truth, everyone's eyes on the same piece of data, and the copy of data being shared across that network results in secure, accurate records and trusted peer-to-peer transactions. There is the Internet of Value, secure, rapid transactions, peer-to-peer transactions from anywhere to anywhere. It's low cost, and most importantly, it's programmable money. We do this through smart contracts and other mechanisms. I won't get into the technical details, but the programmable money and how it is implemented is something that adds a tremendous value in terms of how we can achieve value in the network. Finally, there is the Internet of Identity, which is, again, one of those holy grail kind of topics. It is applicable to everything that we do today. Today, our identity is fragmented, it is not secure, and what is fairly powerful about blockchain-based identity is that you have unique identifiers based on decentralized identifiers. These are the DIDs, and that means that your records are private, but they're portable and they're persistent. They go with you wherever you go. The sense of online digital ownership, self-sovereign identity, is a real game changer in blockchain-based systems because it means that we have the power to own our own data, to provide selective disclosure and access to our data to any entity or person that we're communicating with or interacting with or doing business with. And more importantly, it is based on fundamentally verifiable credentials. And again, this is also a very game-changing aspect of blockchain. As I mentioned with digital identity, it's really the cornerstone of pretty much everything we can think about, from healthcare and financial services to smart cities, sustainability, even our daily social platforms and interactions to e-government. This is at the cornerstone of life. And if you look at every moment of our life, we're always authenticating ourselves for everything that we do. And so this digital identity and our ownership of our own digital identities is something that is fundamentally important for blockchain. Today, I wanted to focus on the convergence of blockchain and AI. So blockchain brings that secure and trusted data element, but then we also have AI and ML, which is providing intelligence, insights, predictive analytics around data, and more importantly, actionable insights around data. And that's not something that blockchain professes to do. We're just providing a secure, trusted data platform for all of this intelligence then to be based on. So who's embraced blockchain? Well, this slide really ought to tell it all. Who says the pictures can't say 1,000 words? This picture to me says 1,000 words. You've got the Forbes 50 blockchain. And if you look at who's on this list, you've got all the leading brands of the world. You've got Amazon, you've got Daimler, you've got BMW, Samsung, IBM, Microsoft, Coinbase, T-Mobile. You've got a whole host, you've got Google, you've got all these great brand names that are all embracing blockchain. 81% of global financial executives now believe that blockchains have gone mainstream, and that's this year's Deloitte's Global Blockchain Survey results. Who cannot deny the huge value of a company called Coinbase, which is right now valued at 86 billion. I think it has come to a really great inflection point where now we're seeing billions and trillions in value in blockchain. And I think this is what the excitement around this technology is all about. Throughout the course of today, you will hear real use cases and discussion around financial services, around social good, healthcare, supply chain, NFTs, and the metaverse. In financial services, all I want to tell you is, if you look at DeFi alone, this is actually an old graph we're showing earlier this year, the value sitting at 65 billion. Now the value is in hundreds of billions in locked total value. That's in contracts. You've got central banks moving towards digital currencies. You've got payment channels and systems that are going to be universal as Visa is rolling out. You've got every bank that you could possibly think of that is engaged in blockchain-based trade finance. And then in social good, you've got a tremendous capacity for companies like Plastic Bank and AgriLedger, which are on our panel today, talking about doing things for the better future for the planet, for people on the planet, and for all of us to have a much more sustainable future. We also have financial inclusion initiatives that are providing rights to the disadvantaged to the disenfranchised. And so this is something that is really exciting about how blockchain-based solutions are helping to create a world that is much more based on social equity. In healthcare, there are elements of blockchain that I'm involved in on the cybersecurity side, but you'll hear some very different views on the panel, talking from anything on in the life sciences arena, in pharmaceutical firms that are trying to reimagine their supply chains, bring greater auditability and cost reductions and preventing fraud in prescription drugs. You've got great companies and brands such as IBM, Aetna, Anthem, all of these companies looking at blockchain from a very different view on how they can improve patient care through blockchain-based systems. So it's really exciting what's happening in healthcare. In supply chain, I just wanted to leave you with the fact that everything that we experienced in COVID, with things that were no longer found on shelves because global supply chains were broken, with tests and vaccines that were not easily accessible by all in the world, again affected by supply chains that are currently broken. All of this can be changed and transformed with blockchain. So today we have brand names like Nestle and Carrefour in the food business that are putting baby milk formula on the blockchain to prevent counterfeit baby formula. I can't imagine who would want to do something so terrible like that, but there are people that try to take advantage of systems. And so you've got even coffee, knowing where your coffee comes from, the provenance of where goods come from. That's also a supply chain use case. You've got IBM and Ariane who joined forces this year to provide supply chain transparency around luxury and fashion brands. So we really have covered it all. And then finally, we've got ethical supply chains, such as Volvo that is implementing blockchain cobalt traceability to prevent child labor laws from being transgressed. Same thing for the diamond industry, where you find the diamond industry is plagued by, and people have heard of blood diamonds. There's a reason why those terms exist. It's because people don't adhere to the Geneva Conventions. They don't adhere to labor laws, international labor laws. And these are things that we actually do have to care about as a collective global society. And finally, in the NFTs and the Metaverse, I attended that great event at Christie's last night, and it was pretty palpable, the excitement around a brand new way of engaging with digital assets and digital content. This is empowering the creator economy and artists to finally get their due. You have incredible sales of works. So whether you're thinking about art or collectibles, or as I do, thinking about the fundamentals of blockchain, which is essentially around ownership, authenticity, and provenance, it's hugely transformative to see what the NFTs are doing, and truly that they are the gateway to this metaverse, where we are going to be living in an online virtual world and engaging with brands and other consumers in this metaverse. And you'll have a treat when you listen to that panel later today. So I just wanted to leave you with some final thoughts that this combination of technologies with blockchain and AI is fundamentally transforming a multitude of sectors, a few of which we have shared with you today. And I think you're in for a real treat with everything that is coming up in today's summit. Thank you.